Welcome to episode 22 of the Hotfix Podcast, and today we're joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Clone 1018, the founder and developer of Glimesh. He answered our call from the last episode.
How amazing. Dude, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to cut to our intro, and then we'll be right back with this episode. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Welcome to Hotfix, the weekly podcast that dives into the fascinating world of streaming, gaming, and esports. With your hosts, Brant Vladichuk and Jeremy Kelly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hotfix Podcast, episode number 22. Today we are joined by the founder, the do-everythinger of Glimesh, which is an upcoming streaming platform. This is Luke Strickland. Luke, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem, guys. I'm super pumped to be here.
Luke, can you just real quick, do you want to just introduce yourself and kind of give the audience an idea of who you are, where you came from, what your background is, that kind of thing?
For sure. It's funny because we were just talking about this on the pre-podcast. But I'm Luke Strickland. The first thing you have to say when you're from Texas is I'm from Texas. So I get that out of the way. Check that box.
You won't get your citizenship revoked.
Yeah, exactly. But I've been kind of interested in startups and companies and software for as long as I can remember. And I'm kind of fortunate because I've always known what I want to do when I grow up. Grow up. I don't know what it means when you're 26, right. But grow up for me has always been clearly defined. So I'm kind of like at this point, I've grown my career. I've worked in large companies. I've worked in startups. And I actually really captured onto this idea of Glimesh recently. And so for me, it's been like a nice way to pivot into something brand new. So my background is I'm kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. And I definitely say the last part with the utmost like bold text because I'm not very good at many things, but I can do a lot of things.
I relate with
that's
that.
That's what you need.
I 100% relate with the master of none, but can do a lot.
Yeah, and it's helpful, right? Because you can kind of dabble and dribble, and then you trip sometimes, and then other people can hopefully pick you back up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, 100%. So I guess the first thing to start off with, I guess, is probably the most obvious question is, what does Glimesh mean? Like, where did the name come from?
It's funny. Not a lot of people are comfortable enough to ask that question, I think. I think everyone is curious. Everyone wants to know, but it's the least asked question.
Amazing.
Right? So Glimesh the spiel is that the name is from the word glimmer, right? Because it's like a diamond in the rough. It's like a chance for something new. And then the mesh part is this technology concept of like a mesh network. And one of our ideas behind scaling and growth is to be able to distribute video amongst all the people who are watching it, especially since it's live video. And so that's where the mesh name comes from.
Cool.
And then I did a little search on Google and found that the Twitter, Facebook.com, .net, .tv, Instagram, TikTok are all free. So I just
and that's really how you know it's the name for you. Like
right.
if that stuff is free, you got to go for it. Like you got to go in no matter what. even if you didn't really like the name, you're like, well, it's all free, so I just have to take it now.
Exactly. And that's what can hurt you, right? Later is if you choose a name that's taken, or if you choose a name that isn't available on any platform, or it's hard to Google, right? It makes it hard to find you.
Absolutely.
Glimesh, no one's going to get that confused.
No, you're not wrong.
Very true.
That's fantastic. How long ago did you come up with the idea for Glimesh?
June 22nd.
Of this year?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Basically.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long story, right? I think I've always been passionate about live streaming, especially live streaming all types of content. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do, but Justin TV, way back in the day, that site, that's where like I got my first, actually, I think there's another one called Livestream or something. That's what really piqued my interest. And then it transformed into Twitch. And then in the middle of like Twitch to Mixer, I tried to make a streaming service way back, 8 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. And I was a little naive at the time. And I went as far as I could, and then I realized that I couldn't move forward by myself. So on June 22nd of this year, after Mixer died, it was kind of, or after Mixer announced that they were dying, that was kind of like the lightning bolt in my head, if you will, of, hey, this is the time, this is the place, and now I have all the skills that I need to do it.
That's incredible. I genuinely had no idea that it was this new. That's man, you've built up like a legit, like, I mean, I've had the pleasure of meeting people in your community since we've done the episode last week, and they're like very passionate people and like very, very into the idea of Glimesh being a thing. It's like especially for it only being like, again, like a couple of months old. Like, what the hell? That's amazing.
And that's the thing, man, is if there's a time for it, it's right now. People are passionate, they're feeling it, they're just recently burned, they're looking for something, right? They're looking for a new home. And I think they found a fit, right? I think they found a good place for them.
So what do you think is it that people are looking for? Maybe that's like the broadest question you could possibly ask for someone who's trying to start a streaming platform, but like, where do you see the glaring holes in the mainstays? Like if we talk Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook as like the three, giants of the live streaming industry, what's the biggest miss by all these companies that have left so many people looking for a new home?
Community. That's the one word. But to elaborate, I mean, it's the fact that, like, I dare you to go find a live stream on YouTube. Like, just find one, go to the homepage and find a live stream. For me, it's impossible, right?
Yeah, discoverability is not for sure.
There's nothing there, right? It's impossible to find. You go to Facebook, and Susan May is live streaming her jewelry sale. And then your buddy Zach, your friend, is streaming his game, and it's like all on the same platform, and it has your real name next to it. You can't really form a community like that, right? You can't really form bonds like that, because that's who you are as a person, not who you want to be or who you feel comfortable being. Part of the really great piece of online presence is it helps young folks, for example, get out of their shell and learn who they want to be. And if you do that behind the guise of your Facebook page, I mean, I don't see how you can be a creative individual with that kind of restraint. And then Twitch, it's just, they're too large, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably been said to death that Twitch is, it's completely owned, run, and dominated by the 0.001% of streamers, right? They're the ones that matter. And outside of that, you're kind of you're just a small fish in a gigantic pond, right? So it's I mean, like Go ahead.
I was going to say, even when you, like, the best parts of Twitch, because there are good parts, is the small, like, micro communities that get formed, right? The small group of streamers and viewers who, know each other by username and follow each other on all their Discords. And that's kind of like what I want to capture. That, for me, is the most, like, intoxicating piece, is that community, that fellowship that you get to bring and have. And I think, providing all content creators a level playing field is very important too. You go to Twitch, click browse, 99% of the page there is just video games.
Right. So do you have something in the works for people to be able to discover, like, is discoverability a key factor in what Glimesh is planning to focus on?
Yeah. It's one of our, like, it's on our about page. It's one of the, I think the second sentence is about discoverability, and it's because it's truly important for us to be able to give everyone an opportunity to make streaming, hopefully their life, hopefully their income, right?
Right.
Right now, that's limited to a select few, and we want to make sure that you're able to support the streamers or the content creators that you like, but you're also able to find them in the first place. And I think it's one of those things where it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Right. Thinking about discoverability, what the features look like, how you make that happen. My brain starts to hurt.
No, I bet. Do you have any kind of insight, or are you able to kind of speak at all as to what your vision of discoverability looks like? Like, without giving things away and without anything like that, but just like what is discoverability on a live streaming platform to you?
I think it's, I thought a lot about it, and I don't know if I go too far, let me know. But what I'm really starting to kind of form an idea around is that it's about the live streams, because the live streams is where the magic happens, right? Watching a live stream is the one unique opportunity you have to see it unfold in real time, right? A video is great because you get to watch it at your own leisure, you get to come back, but nothing is quite as exhilarating as watching it happen live, as watching the Super Bowl, right? I don't know if you guys watch the Super Bowl in Canada, but the Super Bowl, it's like you come into work the next day and everyone's talking about it. It's not quite the same momentum as watching that final, tackle, pass, throw into the goalpost. Not a sports person.
but being there, I think what you're saying is like being there is better than watching the highlight. Like being at the football game is better than watching the highlight the next day on the morning sports show.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Like that's there's something about being in the moment and being able to experience that with everyone else that's watching it. Like, I mean, just as like the best example is what happened with Tim the Tap Man this week with the Fall Guys thing, right? It was like it just dominated the gaming world, and like everyone I know that even if they don't really watch Twitch or but they're into gaming, like they were aware that this thing was happening, and like
everybody had to be there to see the first one.
Well, exactly. I mean, I
had it in the background all day while I was working, just like, come on, when is it going to happen?
But there's something about that, right? There's something about being able to say, like, it's almost like it's almost like one of those I was there when this happened, right? So there's nothing like live streaming, for all its pros and all its cons. There's definitely a lot of both, but there's something very unique about live streaming and being an entertainer via live streaming. That's just a very unique thing. It truly is incredible. So I mean, like it's amazing to hear that discoverability is like, it's a key focus for you guys, because I mean, as I'm sure that's I guess one of the reasons why you're starting a platform is that discoverability is just obviously a big issue when it comes to live streaming platforms, right?
Yeah. It's the fear of missing out, right? That's what you get from the live event. The fear that you missed out on it. And that's really what we have to capture. I think that's what gets you hooked. That's what gets you engaged. But that's not always what gets you into the platform in the first place, right? Think about Tim the Tap Man. His normal viewers were already there on Twitch. Were already watching him every day. But what got people who watch it all day while they're doing other things into his stream to watch it was all the media and all the hype surrounding it.
Right.
And so, one of our ideas, right, is how do we capture that market of people who don't even know that streaming is really a thing, right? People who don't even recognize the difference between a live stream and a video online. How do we get live streaming to more of an audience?
Right, I got you. So your idea is to expand live streaming as a medium, as opposed to let's just be direct competition with Amazon and YouTube.
Exactly.
Because that was like a question we were going to ask, is like, I mean, who in their right mind would even try to start a company to battle against Amazon and YouTube?
Yeah.
Can we get just like a real quick why is that the ocean you decided to dive into? Is it just you're really passionate about live streaming, or is it like is there just you see a glaring weakness that you think can be improved upon?
I mean, you think Amazon was scared to start when Walmart existed, right? You think Apple was scared to start when Microsoft was taking off?
Yep.
Right? But they just announced that Apple is, 200 or 100 trillion or something in stock value?
Something foolish like that, yeah.
Like something that has never been seen ever. And so to answer the competition question, I like to answer it with, we're not trying to compete.
Right.
It's not a competition, right? Twitch has literally 99% of the gaming, vertical of live streaming.
Yep.
And that's great. And that's going to continue. And Amazon's going to push that through their games, through their promotions. They're just going to keep hammering that, and they're going to keep growing. But I think where we can really start to make a difference and start to find our footing is by making sure that our platform's equitable, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's fair, it's equal, and that everyone who creates content is given a piece of that slice, right? I think the most undervalued streams are often the funnest. I don't know if you've ever watched someone draw a picture for hours on end, but it's mesmerizing. Mesmerizing content.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of those art streamers as a great example, or like musicians, like people playing drums or playing guitar or playing like a friggin' harp or whatever, are like, they are truly exceptional content that's that really does almost redefine what live streaming can be, right? As opposed to yo, what's up, Machinima? This is Optic Shady Lurker with my top 10 kills of the week kind of thing, like there's so much, like live streaming is it's so broad that it could be anything. You could have your Tim the Tap Man's doing Fall Guys, but you could also have someone cooking, and you can have someone sewing, and someone playing an instrument, and all this kind of stuff, which is just, I guess, what makes it such an interesting form of entertainment in the first place, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Did we want to get into some of the behind the scenes stuff? I know you're twitching over there. To get into some
twitching, I'm glimishing.
Glimishing over there.
Doesn't quite roll off the tongue as well.
Yeah, that could be taken out of context in a weird way.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm glimishing.
Glimishing.
Okay. So you tweeted recently, as in today, about a FTL-like feature, and that is very exciting. Are you able to speak on that a little bit more? Because I come from Mixer as well, and that was one of my favorite features was FTL, and something that I miss a lot with Twitch and other platforms.
Yeah, definitely. I can speak to that. One thing we can just get out of the way, I can speak to anything you guys want. Because, just to give you a little plug, Glimesh is an open and transparent streaming platform. And I want to go even further than that. We're an open and transparent company. And so our financials are open, our product features are open, our code is open. You can come have an open and honest conversation with me. There's not gonna be anything hidden. Now, of course, we have to maintain people's privacy. We have to maintain the things that are truly important. You can't have my bank account number, right? But we can be a little bit more open and honest. So FTL is really, FTL is why I keep saying live streaming. It's one thing to say streaming. It's one thing to say, broadcasting, but live video truly means that it's real time. And Mixer really pushed, I think, the envelope with what live video can be. I'm sitting even here watching this Discord call, and there's more latency than Mixer had.
Yeah.
Right. And what Mixer did was actually, it was actually a guy named Michael. He created this protocol called FTL, which is a way faster medium for transmitting bits over the internet, and your browser receiving them and getting a really fast picture. And he pushed for that at Mixer, and that became Beam's call to action, right? They're an interactive driven streaming platform, and they do that by having the lowest latency and the most interactive features. And that was amazing. And Michael, the guy who created FTL in the first place, definitely loves that protocol, and he worked on open source pieces of it to let it grow in other ways. And Mixer also did the same thing. The company itself made FTL, whether it was an SDK or a client library, public. They never made the server public, however. They kept that under wraps, right? Because that's their IP, that's their intellectual property. But the FTL algorithm itself is something that's very clearly defined and understood. And so what one of our team members, Hayden, has been working on is using that FTL protocol and kind of reverse engineering it to bring that to more people. And there's going to be some questions about legality. And the good news is that since it was an open source project, it's an open source protocol, there's no current known patents or trademarks against it. It's good to go. And so we've been working on kind of breaking down that and understanding what the protocol is doing, and then using that to power the FTL of our website. In reality, it's actually just a pretty thin layer between what's called WebRTC, which is how your Google Hangouts works nowadays. It's essentially peer-to-peer technology, but they've kind of bastardized it for live streaming. So
cool. And so you're building all of this yourself. Like, you're not using. I've past jobs I've worked with companies where we've integrated live streaming into the platform, but we've always used a third party like Mux or Bright Cove. But to my understanding, you guys at Glimesh are like building out your own. You're doing it all yourself. You're not using some third party integration for that.
I do want to be completely clear. So we had a charity stream a little while ago on the 22nd of July. And the charity stream was powered by an open source project called Oven Media Engine, which is essentially live streaming software for the server side, and allowed us to experiment with things like low latency and just your traditional streaming. So we utilize open source components wherever we need to, but we didn't use a pre-existing service or platform to do it.
Okay,
we had to spin up servers, we had to set the configuration. We actually created a highly available cluster to handle all the users, all the viewers who are connected. And then kind of what forked from that moment is, hey, we want to use and support open source software, but we also want to push the envelope of open source software. And that's kind of where the FTL component comes in. So right now we've got two streaming technologies, one that's using Oven Media Engine, like I talked about, and then the other that is, Glimesh open source FTL. So hopefully FTL will lead us into the future, and Oven will kind of be a way for us to, capture some more older devices or older browsers or whatever can't exactly support the newest technology.
Cool. Yeah, no, that answers that question. So I guess, like, what are some short-term goals you guys are working on? Like, if you're thinking within the next couple of years, where would we see Glimesh in the next couple of years?
So the first short goal is to launch. Give that away. We're really marching towards a public launch, because for me, that's the most powerful move, is to have a live streaming platform that is different. Right now, we're talking about it. We're speaking about it. You can check out some demos of it, but until you can touch and feel it, it doesn't really feel real. And it's also really hard to market, right? Because when you are marketing, you're marketing to essentially two audience. Either people who are looking for something actively, right? They want to get away from Twitch, or you're looking for developers who are curious about open source software. Right. You're not finding the 99.999% percentile of the viewers out there or the other streamers. But once you have a platform, once you have a live website, then you can link them to the live website. You can show them the features on the live website. You can say, hey, we're going to do this live FTL stream where you'll have less than half a second of latency, and it's much easier to bring them on board. So first goal, launch, right? Get it out there.
Like it,
Make iterative improvements.
That's a good goal.
And then from there, we want to explore sustainability, right? We want to figure out how to grow this thing, how to have more streamers on the platform, how to continue doing marketing efforts and venues and continue growing the platform, but in a way that doesn't involve like a cash grab. We don't want to just stockpile a ton of funds and then be pushed to our extreme. We want to figure out how to nicely ramp up.
Do you guys have like a timeline? Like you mentioned, like obviously goal number one is to have something tangible so someone can come over and see, even if there's one person live streaming on Glimesh, they can at least see how it works, and they can chat and they can speak with the person that's doing it and kind of get an idea of what it is. Do you guys have a timeline for that, or is it like a TBA kind of thing still?
Yeah, I mean, so we have live streams on the platform every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. We do a staff meeting that's public, so you can come check that out. And then our next goal internally is we want to have 2 streams live for a couple of weeks to prove out the longevity of the stream. So we've proven that the streaming site can work with, it was 200 concurrent viewers during a charity stream.
Yep.
So we've proven that can work, but that was 1 stream. So how does it work with 2?
Right.
So we actually want to create Glim movies and Glim music, which sound really dumb, but especially when you say it out loud. But essentially 2 little live streaming channels. One for public domain movies. Think 1940s black and white, horror movie.
Yep.
Anything that's public domain, we want to push it in there and have it as like a live movie streaming event. You can come in and drop it at any time and watch an awful movie. And then Glim music, which is just music from our community, or of course DMCA approved music from our community, or whoever wants to publish stuff on it.
Of course, I got you.
But we want to launch this year.
So this year is the hope, and will that be like kind of like some kind of a closed or open beta test kind of thing, like to see if you can have, if you had 100 people that wanted to do this quote unquote beta test, is that like kind of like how you plan on it going, or like am I just super far off the mark?
No. I think this moment will be the one that we come back to in 6 months after we launched and are like, what are we doing? Oh my gosh, there's so many people on the platform. This is the moment. And I'm just going to call that out because we want to launch to everyone. We want to launch with no streaming restrictions, or no number of streaming restrictions, no viewer restrictions, or anything that would prevent the platform from growing. But like I said, we want to make sure that that's sustainable. So we've been doing a lot of pricing analysis to figure out, okay, how, at what point do we start to make money? And then how can we make sure that the site grows in relation to how much money we're making?
Right, I got you.
Yeah, and that expands on one of the questions I have as well, is just like cost management. If it does blow up overnight and you wake up and there's 1,000 people streaming, and being I'm assuming it's a bootstrapped company. There's no outside funding to pay for all that server usage.
Yep.
Is there anything in place to make sure your AWS bill or whatever cloud provider you're using isn't like tens of thousands of dollars and you're like, oh fuck, what do we do?
Yeah, it's simple. You just don't sleep, right? You don't sleep for the first 2 weeks.
Right. Easy.
It's a good question. So we've been doing analysis for a good number of streamers, right, at different tiers. And if there's one fallacy in our pricing model, and that is if we launch to 1,000 streamers, right, 1,000 people come on board, and they have tons of viewers, but nobody subscribes to them. If no one subscribes to those streamers, if no one supports them in any way, if no one subscribes to our platform in any way, if there's no money flowing through the platform, that is where we run into the problems.
Right.
However, me personally, I'll help support the platform as much as needed as it's growing. So if we do run into that 1,000 streamer event and nobody subscribes, right, then that's when we have like a quick, all hands meeting, say, hey, no one's interested in sending money on our platform. How do we fix this? Right? We've got 1,000 streamers who have viewers, but no one wants to pay anyone. And that's kind of the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, it only takes a small number of subscribers per channel to make it worthwhile from a revenue perspective. Right. And it is important. If there's no viewers, it's also not a lot of cost.
Right. Do you have a way that this is just a good segue into, do you have a way or an idea into how to make the viewing experience better than what is currently available? Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think for me, it's engagement. That's the key word there. Because I think I always make this argument. The funnest streams in the world are the ones where you're actively engaged in the content, right? When you're chatting away, the streamer recognizes you, you're talking to another person in chat, like it's a whole uniform mixture of fun. That's the funnest moments, at least for me. I don't know.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And so it's about how do we capture that moment more, and how do we keep kind of melding that engagement and that relationship that the streamer has to the viewer, right, to their community. We've experimented with a couple of features we want to get in. One of them is like a little chat heads functionality. So essentially, whenever people chat, they're given they have an avatar. We have avatars on our site, and when you chat, your head grows a little bit larger, a little bit larger, right. A little bit larger. Yeah. But as other people chat, right, all your heads kind of normalize, right, because it's got to make sure they don't go too large. Right. And so what you'll get over time is, your active contributors as like large heads in your stream, right. And that's to show you who your community is, who's talking loudly, and then you can always make it fun, right? You do a donation, and your head like grows double size for a minute, right. Or maybe you get timed out and your head just like explodes.
Right, I got you. Yeah.
There's cool ways to make things like that happen. Yeah. And so much like Mixer, right, where they had live clicking buttons, we want to explore features like those too.
Yeah. I guess, and that really all plays into the open source nature of Glimesh as a platform, right? Like, the more users you have on the platform, the more people who get interested in it means that more people can dig in and come up with ideas. And because it's all open source, they can, come up with their own features and implement them. And if they, pass the testing or whatever, then all of a sudden Glimesh as a whole has a brand new feature that's fantastic for everybody.
Right. And so you can make your dreams come true, right? If you have an idea for a product feature, you can make it.
And that's amazing. I mean, like, coming from someone who doesn't know anything about, I can't even remember what the language is called right now, so, like, that's great. But coming from someone who, to be streaming, and we said this on our podcast last week, where it's like, I stream on Twitch, and, for any kind of update of significance to come through, it's like, if you get 2 a year, then it's like, that's, that was a good year. And those updates as far as significance go is like, we got channel points now. Like that's kind of the thing. Whereas with an open source nature, like, hypothetically speaking, you could have new features all the time. If given the platform is big enough and there's people who are passionate enough about it, and there's developers, independent developers working on new features because they love the idea of it, you could technically have new features fairly quickly. Am I right in saying that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Right. I mean, a week ago, we did not have any languages supported on Glimesh except for English. And one of our contributors, MJA, overnight, got translations in. And now we have Japanese, French, English, Spanish, Swedish, Norwegian, and Russian.
That's incredible. Wow. And
just a couple of nights.
Exactly, right. Whereas, the going through a gigantic company and getting approval, and like you spoke about, Brand, you spoke about like the bureaucracy of getting through all of that stuff is just like a friggin' nightmare. So you can be the most passionate developer in the world and work for Twitch, but like to get your idea through, the 15 security levels could be near impossible. And if they even care.
Right. And I think what you'll find if you look closely at the ideas that Twitch implements, not to harsh on them, but I think you'll find that the features that they implement are the features that allow them to receive more money.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and of course, I mean, like at its absolute base, it's a gigantic, or it's a subsidiary of a gigantic company in a capitalist country that is just like, it only cares about making money, which is like totally fine. Like obviously, if you're a company, you want to make money. That's like literally the point.
I think we touched that on last week. Because at the end of the day, they're just an advertising platform.
Yes, exactly. Which again is fine. And I mean, also good segue. Like, do you guys plan on implementing ads into your? I'm assuming you would, but like, what's like your idea as far as like, okay, maybe this is a better way to put it. Don't do pre-roll ads before someone goes into someone's new stream. There's
That's
my idea.
The most. I've heard that the most out of anything else. It's like, well, and it doesn't make sense. Why would you interrupt the user's engagement? Right? They're browsing, they're exploring, they're discovering. They click on a stream, and then you immediately disrupt them with an ad for Charmin toilet paper.
It's like, there's statistics out there where it's like streamers lose an insane amount of viewership from pre-roll ads, like people who click on the channel but never actually get to see the stream because there's a pre-roll ad. They're like, no, never mind. I'm just going to go to someone who I'm subscribed to because like this is insane. So that's just like it further reduces discoverability, right? Like someone could have, I could stream and get 15 viewers, like throughout the stream, but then there could have been 60 other people that clicked on my stream but never actually got to see me play anything because they're just like, well, I want to see this pre-roll ad. Never mind. So
hit the back button. Click on another one.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Until I don't gotta watch this Charmin ad because it's foolish. And again, I mean, like I understand ads are necessary. Like the company needs to make money to continue to be. So what's your? I'm assuming. I mean, just from your responses there, that your view on ads is probably very similar to every person who's ever streamed anything in their life, right? So it's like they're necessary, but like let's not stop people from ever even finding my channel because of them. Yeah,
and it's it goes back to the pricing model we talked about a minute ago. I've been doing a lot of analysis on that to understand what's the break-even point, right? And that's all been off of subscribers because for me, if we could take a subscription cut and not have ads while we launch, that's going to make a much more lucrative platform.
Right.
It's going to be easier to approach, it's going to be more comfortable. And then people keep saying, when are you going to have ads and how are you going to have ads? And I think I really believe in some ideas and I want to see them through. And I will almost like shoot myself in the foot to see them through. And I would love to see a platform where there are no direct video ads, where what you're seeing over the streamer's content is not interrupting what they are providing to you. It's not a displacement of the content, right? It's a supplement of the content. And so what I love sponsorships, right? Because that is the streamer advocating for a product that they believe in natively on the platform, whether it's through live content or links in the footer or whatever. It's them promoting a brand while making sure that they get a cut of it too, right? With ads, you sometimes get a cut, you sometimes don't. And so what I would love to explore is the idea of deeper ads, right? Not video ads that just scream at you on a screen, right? Not like did you see the Charmin like poop toilet paper game?
Yeah.
None of that either.
Thank you.
Right here to that. I would love to see though what it's like to say, hey, I have a Corsair keyboard. If you like it, click my link. The platform set that up for you in the first place. They made you available to Corsair. Corsair said, hey, I'm going to send you a keyboard. I'm going to give you 10%. Glimesh takes a little cut. You take a little cut when someone buys your keyboard. Right. And then you have an ad. You have an ad that wasn't really an ad.
Right. I got you.
It's sort of like the quote unquote like influencer marketing thing.
Well, and it works. Yeah. Right. I mean, people spend a lot on gaming equipment and I asked my community, hey, I have a trash microphone. What do I buy? And they all linked me their favorite microphones.
Yeah.
Happen to be big names.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I don't have much of an audience to speak of. Like, I mean, I have a small community of people that watch me that I'm very thankful for. But, you still, even at a small streamer level, get people all the time asking what you use. Like like they want you to have a gear list. They want to know what your graphics card is, what your keyboard, what your mouse, what your headset is, all this kind of stuff. And like I can say, just like 100%, there's been people in my community, again, even as small as it is, that have bought, whatever company mouse pad or whatever company headset because I use it, and I just like spoke highly on it. So it's that idea, right, which is fantastic.
Yep. Exactly.
I love that. While we're on pricing models, what's do you know what the like what's the cost of a subscription to a streamer or to a channel, and then what does Glimesh get? What does the streamer get? Have you guys gone that far into your pricing models yet?
And to add real quick, is there, because you have subscriptions for all right away, are you planning any sort of like affiliate program, a partnership program, or
is it just everyone? Just everyone
is the same.
Sure. So to answer the last question first, we're doing subs for everyone, and now the disclaimer at the end there is right now we're only set up to pay out to people that are in the United States.
Right.
And our next immediate goals is Canada and the UK. And then after that, we'll do countries on a largest user base first.
Right.
And that's really because paying people is the hardest thing in the world. If you don't pay the tax man, he comes for you.
The tax man cometh.
Well, imagine tax man
cometh,
for
he
every
taketh.
country,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
So subs for everyone, right? Subs for everyone that we can support their country. Because for me, there's no reason that I shouldn't allow someone to receive income on the site, right? Because I get a cut no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the business, right, piece of it. I think people will generally prevent subs at an early level just to reduce fraud, to reduce the idea of like money laundering going through the service. And we're utilizing a strong payment provider like Stripe to deal with a lot of that anti-fraud for us and hopefully reduce it as much as possible. So that may change over time, right? I want to add that disclaimer just because there's a certain scale at which these things no longer work. And I hope that we can make it work forever. But right now, subs for everyone. And then as far as your cut question goes, we are looking at a 50% cut right now.
Okay.
And so what that works out to be, we have a $5 sub,
Yep.
not a $4.99 sub. $5 round.
Yeah, because you're
No
really
fees.
tricking everyone with your $4.99.
Well, plus, isn't it still that's pre-fees? So then you sub, and it's actually $5.23 or something.
Of course, yeah. So it's
So
$5
it's
on the
$5.
button. Yeah.
Fees are included,
Right.
and the fees are on Glimish's side. So we'll pay the 10 cents of fees there are,
Mm-hmm.
and so we get $2.40 and you get $2.50.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then what's the benefit in your mind to subscribing to a channel? Like is it very similar to what other platforms have, or do you guys have different ideas there? I mean, again, with the open source, obviously the possibilities are endless, really. But do you guys have ideas set up right now to be like, okay, subscribing to you we don't have ads, so that thing is not a thing. But I mean, I'm assuming there's like there will be emotes and stuff. But like, what's the benefit of subscribing to a channel on Glimesh other than supporting the platform and the streamer?
So maybe I'm naive, and that's all right. But I want that to be enough, right?
Yeah.
Ideal world, we can form a natural community that believes in the spirit of giving and the spirit of supporting the people who are creating the content that you love and know and watch. But I know that won't always persuade people. And they also want to rep, right? They want to rep the brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
People love wearing swag of their favorite company or streamer or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do that same thing with the little chat bubble or the emoticons they use on their sites or other streams. So we want to, of course, tackle those same normal traditional avenues, right? So sub icon of some sort. Maybe you get like a ring around your name or something.
Yeah.
And then channel emotes. But we want to see kind of how we can take that a little bit further. One of the ideas we've been playing with is if you use Discord a lot, you'll recognize the server boost function.
Mm-hmm.
So, if people in your community love your Discord server enough or love the community enough, you can all band together to boost the server to get more features for that server.
That's a friggin'
awesome.
idea, dude. That's such a good idea for
That's
a
really cool,
streamer's channel.
Exactly.
Hell
so,
yeah.
So you ask about transcodes, you ask about all of the features that are way more expensive for us to run, and we give you an avenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want that streamer to have transcodes? We'll get into level 1, right? That's where you can unlock transcodes. And so then it becomes not necessarily like, oh, when I sub, I win. It's, oh, when I sub, we win, right?
Dude,
it's all of us
that's
involved.
the idea. That's so sick.
That's very
That's
cool.
like genuinely. That's like from the streamer side, as someone who would have a channel and build my own community. That's super cool. Like that's such a friggin' great idea that everyone can get together to just make the channel better.
The channel better, the community, right?
Yeah.
The people that you love to interact with better.
Like, I mean, like, I try to make a conscious point when I talk about my streaming channel to say our streaming channel, it's we go live. It's our next stream is next. We will be playing. It's trying to make sure that it's not me. Like, I know I'm part of it, but everyone watching, everyone supporting is just as much part of it as well. So the idea that everyone can come together, on the same level. You're a streamer, or you're a viewer, or you're a subscriber, whatever you may be. You're all on the same level, all working to build up this channel into something that could be really great. And you have these features that are implemented that would make just the viewing experience or the streaming experience better based on what level your community has brought your channel to. That's like, dude, that's sick. That has me so excited. Holy hell, I love that idea so much.
Well, it's fun, right? I mean, there's nothing quite like getting a Discord boost and then like hovering your mouse over the like little icon really quickly, and it pops up all the confetti. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just a silly little feature, but it's fun, right? And it's engaging. And the first time you get a boost, like you get a server rank 1 or whatever, it's like, that's something you call out. You're like, oh, our server's rank 1. We get this custom thing now. We get higher audio quality, and then eventually you get like a custom URL and all that kind of stuff. It's fun to do, and it's fun to have. And I think it also strives to our goal of making streaming sustainable. Because I think one of my fears is that, like, think about the gift sub idea. So whenever you gift subs to someone, I think it's great in small numbers, but dangerous in large numbers. So if you have someone who comes in and gifts you, 200 subs this month, but none of those people churn, or none of those people come back next month, they all churn, then that 200 sub count that you had that made you think that you were making money off of streaming come back around next month and they're not there.
Yep.
Right? And so I want to make streaming sustainable too. I want to make it you're going to get $400 this month. You're going to get $450 next month. You're going to get $442 next month, $443 next month. Hopefully you could still have those big blips, but hopefully it's not from your core subscriber base.
Yeah, it's not you get, you get, like you said, $450 this month, and next month you don't get anything because you have to wait another 6 months before you've hit that threshold you can get paid out again.
Right. And well, that's another topic.
That is I mean, that is another topic, absolutely. But there's something about the mental health impacts that could have on someone who's been grinding for 3 years as a Twitch streamer, and they all of a sudden get their audience to go from 8 average viewers to 13 average viewers, and then their community really supports them, and they get they have 50 extra subs that month from, like, they normally had 14, but now they had 70 or whatever. And then they get this big payout and they're like, oh my God, it's finally happening. And then, like you just said, like 98% of those people don't resubscribe. So now you get 16 instead of 14. But your one-time giant payout, you had that 1 month of thinking all my hard work is finally paying off. And then it's just like, Mike Tyson walked up and punched you in the guts. And it's like, oh, never mind. Okay. And but recovering from that as a streamer, like, I mean, we spoke a whole bunch on this podcast about how mentally draining streaming can be and how difficult it can be to grow as a streamer, that doesn't come from some place of notoriety. At the idea of starting to gain success is exciting. And then when it gets taken away, it can hit people really hard. And I've seen it hit a lot of people really hard, and I've seen people stop streaming altogether because it's happened. Right. Yeah. So, if there is a way, I mean, like, obviously, of course, like you said, like, if someone wants to come in and donate you $2,000, then, like, by all means, go ahead and donate $2,000. But it shouldn't, if there's a way to, gain some sense of normalcy as far as income goes, I mean, you could really be doing a lot of people a great service in the long run of live streaming as a career, or even as a side job. I mean, to make it a career, I know you have to be you have to be fairly successful to, like, be able to pay all your bills and all this kind of stuff from streaming. Like, that's obviously very difficult, but to even make it like a steady source of income, even if it is $100 a month.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something to that, to it being in some form of consistency. That's again another very, very exciting idea, because I think that's one thing we speak about a lot, is that the mental health and the taxing side of streaming is criminally under talked about. And
Well, yeah,
the financial side of it is part of it.
Exactly. And I think there's so much more under the mental health rock to uncover as far as streaming goes. And there's nothing quite like watching a streamer who's having the time of their life. And then there's nothing quite like watching a streamer who's grinding through 1 viewer, 2 viewers, 3 viewers to try and find something to grab onto.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, it's challenging because that's going to be right in our faces. Like that's going to be day in and day out the pleas of the people, right? Of how can I grow my stream? How can I continue making this happen? And we want to make sure that as a platform, we're teaching people how to stream better, right? How to use OBS better, how to get these quality things, how to get more interaction on your stream, how to capture a viewer whenever they stop by.
Mm-hmm.
Anything we can help them learn. Then we also want to have a really important part of their mental health. We want to pay attention to their mental health and provide them tools, resources, or limits if they need to be more mentally healthy. And we've been talking with a guy named Ryfrost, who's been kind of coaching us on what it looks like, as far as streaming mental health goes, and what he does and how he keeps motivation. And we're super interested in bringing not product features like that to market, but we want to bring values like that to the market where we care about your mental health too. And we want to make sure that this is something for you that is draining if you need it to be draining, but not an inescapable pit of death if you don't.
I mean, what a great idea if there was even in the in the cog wheel on the website some kind of like a help feature that just brought you to links for various ways to deal with, stress, anxiety, overcoming social awkwardness, dealing with being let down, like all these kind of things that kind of come with, that can be a thing that come with live streaming and it's ups and downs. And then at the same time, like, how cool would it be if you wanted to get into live stream, but you didn't really know what to do? And like, obviously you can search YouTube, but like there's a bazillion videos, but you decided to start on Glimesh, and there was a, learn to stream section. And it was just like, a member of the community that's just very well spoken and well educated on this topic. And it's like, here's 5 10-minute videos of how to get started, how to capture viewers, speaking when no one's watching, these kind of things. And you can just have like this little, we're just getting started, check out these videos, now you go live. Right? It's just, there's, again, and that's, you talk further about the open source software and being very open and being very engaged with building that community and lifting everyone up. What a great way to kind of just, make sure everyone's good.
Yep.
It's fantastic. That we did just speak about the challenges of streamers and that kind of, and all that kind of thing. But what are some of the challenges for Glimesh? Like, what are some of the challenges you guys are facing right now, or challenges you have like on the horizon?
So for a while, we had a business hurdle of it's kind of hard to get an EIN, which is like America's company identification number that you need for your taxes. It was really hard to get it. The IRS was doing, manual entry for some applications, and due to COVID, they stopped all manual entries, and they just opened it back up. But of course, when you open the floodgates up, you have to kind of work through it one at a time. It's the reason that our tax refunds are also delayed, which is interesting. But that was the biggest blocker for a long time, and we were actually able just now to get that EIN solidified away. So that means that we can now transmit and receive money officially as Glimesh Inc.
Right.
And not as Luke Strickland.
Right.
Which is what
Some
I
guy.
keep that right over there. Right, because running a streaming site, talking about challenges. Any site where you can host user uploaded content, you're in for a wild ride, right? You're in for quite an experience. Mm-hmm. I had an image hosting website for a while, and that was just images, right? And I've seen the depths of the internet.
Yeah, I bet.
And so on a streaming site, right? It's no joke. Like we were talking to some people from Mixer who ran their moderation team. Mm-hmm. and they were saying that, not to get morbid, but they had streams that were, just people trying to hurt themselves or maim themselves, or people who were trying to threaten others on stream, or even worse acts that I won't even say on this podcast. And it's like, why, what's going through these people's mind, but also how do you help your staff, right? How do you help the people that have to moderate that accept that and like realize that they just saw something like that and had to deal with it? And so we're going to have quite a lot of challenges as far as moderation goes, and providing our staff support, but then also anyone who's impacted by that, and also the victims who are on the other end of the live stream.
Right. Very, very true. Very, very true. What is your team size right now? Like, I know you're kind of like the guy that does basically everything, but do you have like what's your community, like what's just the team size right now?
Yeah. I mean, I like to make the joke that we can't pay you to work for us, but you can pay us to work for us. and I make that joke. I make that joke only because right now, the only employee that's actually in the organization is me, and that's just because we can't figure out the legality piece yet of like community ownership. But I pay to code, right? I create the servers, I pay for them. That's fine, but it's pay to join. So right now we have 2 staff members, quote unquote, and then 13 dedicated volunteers, and two of our moderators who will become our community action team. So people who will make sure that the site has a strong culture, a strong motivation, a strong vision behind it, and then help maintain that through the quality of our community streams and chat.
Amazing.
So pretty small, cool. All volunteers.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, we've had a chance to speak with some of the community members, and they've been just extremely welcoming and just absolute great.
Very people. Welcoming. It's been really awesome.
They've been great.
All right, so we talked about short-term goals. In the long term, is your goal to like go against Twitch, YouTube, or is it to kind of carve your own little pocket in the market and kind of like dominate that little pocket, or are you trying to take over?
Yeah, I want to transform live content as we know it. Whether that means taking on Twitch directly or just ignoring them and moving past them, doesn't really matter to me. For me, it's about the age of TV is dying, is on decay, and somehow the live produced entertainment that you see on TV is not translating directly into online media. And when it is, it's like weird and awkward and strange. So you either have like your streamers who is just one person in the camera and a microphone doing something, or you have these super broadcast events that no one really pays much attention to. And I want to figure out, okay, what are the bands and how do we grow streaming and live content between those bands, right? I think like what I'm really striving for here is I want, weird Adult Swim late night content produced live on air. I want I want people to find their niche on live entertainment, and I want to continue to push that and grow that. So for me, it's a long-term vision of world domination through live streaming entertainment.
Right.
Cool. So more live, like quote unquote shows, not just people sitting in the front of their computer playing Minecraft.
Right, but I think it's the range, right? I think it's enabling the range to exist, and then that's where other people will find growth and success, right? They'll maybe start on Glimesh as just a live stream with the camera. Maybe they continue on to do other things. Maybe they move to Twitch for a while to really embrace some piece of that community. But Glimesh is still there. We're still there for you. Come back whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
So it's continuing to kind of build that and grow that.
Yeah, I mean, there's, with implementing a lot of the features that you've spoken about, there's a way for people to really get super creative with whatever their medium is, right? And I think you would probably agree that, live streaming is only in its infancy right now. And what it's going to become or what it could become is, I mean, we have no idea, but it's a very small piece of the entertainment industry at this point, that could turn into, just the most amazing content that's ever been created, for sure.
Well, and it's interesting too, because Ninja right now is trying to venture into Hollywood, right, in a traditional medium,
right.
And I think that's almost ironic, because there's a lot of Hollywood famous people who are trying to venture into the world of online entertainment,
right? Yeah.
Right? The world of live entertainment, whether that's through Instagram Live is not to be taken lightly. Instagram Live is where all your celebrities go and broadcast to millions of viewers, right? It's much smaller than your average Twitch stream. But for me, it's exactly your point, right? What do we not even know? We don't know about yet.
Exactly.
Right? What is going to happen in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years that we can't even comprehend now? I was actually on Twitch last night. There was a live television show they were broadcasting that it's like a story that is developing, and it's chat driven. So chat chooses how the story unfolds.
Right.
And they had this big event where they chose that this person was guilty or innocent for their crimes. And they were actually voting that person, that actor who was portraying that role, off of the air if he was guilty. Like, that's your job, buddy. You're out of here.
Right.
Or, continue doing a show, please. Yeah. And that kind of content, we never even imagined, a couple of years ago.
Like, how great, right? For there to be you could take any kind of sitcom or soap opera or any kind of television drama or anything, if you have people who are really good at improving, and whereas just the chat goes, okay, now this happens, and now everyone has to go along with that. And if they're really good at it, they could actually pump out a full episode of a show that was almost run by chat. And like you said, like what those people are doing, and it's incredible. It really does. There's no limits to what the possibilities are. And again, the fact that with you guys being open source, that's you could see the advancements of those ideas, and maybe the little add-ons or little features that someone would need to really see their idea through could be implemented much quicker than, I want to do this, but I want to do it on Twitch, and they don't have it, and I have no pull, so Twitch is never going to listen to me. So I guess I just had to learn to code myself and maybe come up with my own platform to try and maybe do this thing. But something with what you guys are doing, right?
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes you can find people who are so passionate about your idea, even if you're not a programmer, who will just make it because they want to see you do it. And we talk about different kinds of live entertainment, and it doesn't stop at improv. It doesn't stop at acting,
of course,
right? Who doesn't want to see a live cooking competition, right? I want to see a live cooking competition.
I would love to see
exactly, and you can even do remote live cooking competitions, right? You're in your kitchen, I'm in mine. We cook up at the same time. See how that goes.
I mean, you could have, to some people would probably sound boring, and to others to not. You could have someone who's writing a book write their book live on stream and have ideas at a turning point in the book and get chat's input as to what actually goes down into this book, which ends up getting published. And then there's a physical, tangible thing that, what random username person in the chat came up with the idea for this thing to happen.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like a community built novel. Like, how incredible. The possibilities truly are endless. The open source idea, again, like you said, especially when you start thinking about, years down the road when, Glimesh has had a chance to grow and really gain a strong audience, and the community and live streaming as a medium has moved further and further ahead. The possibilities are just astronomical. I mean, you had to be so excited about the idea of this thing starting to, really gain its legs, right?
I am. So we had this charity stream, and the charity stream was a way to prove that, hey, we exist. We can have a live stream. We can host it on our own platform. powered by software that we wrote or software that we're utilizing. It's kind of like our initial public offering, if you will. And so we had this charity stream, and we didn't have a streamer to do it. And I didn't want to do it. It didn't feel right. I wanted to pick someone random, and I wanted them to pick the charity. And I wanted to make it very clear that we're here to support whatever charity this is. Hopefully we abuse and use our platform at the same time, that we can learn and grow from it. But it's not for us to money grab. It's not for us to take from anyone. And we found this streamer who applied, actually, named Icarus. And we started talking about it, and we finally let him know that we picked him to do the charity stream. And I remember, this is super embarrassing, so I can't wait for this to be published. But I remember hearing by rumor that he was going to talk about it on a stream that same night. And I popped in and made sure that I was logged out, and I watched the stream and I watched his announcement. And the second that he started talking about Glimesh and what he was going to be doing, and how he started preaching the Glimesh core values from his own heart.
Right.
And that moment when I saw that, it clicked. And I said to my girlfriend, why would I want to do anything else?
That's amazing. It's so great. I mean, there's been points in this interview where I've gotten so giddy at just at some of these ideas. It truly is incredible. It's also nice that I don't know, I guess it's just nice, this is speaking from a small streamer standpoint, to know that it's not just Papa Bezos that's just running the whole operation. you know what I mean? Bless him. Obviously, congratulations on all the success and all that kind of thing. Obviously, he's done wonders. But it's just nice to know that it's not a gigantic corporation that's backing the whole thing. And just be able to put a face to the person running this whole thing, and kind of just get an idea of, like you said, what are the core values? Why would you ever, anyone in their wildest dreams, want to tackle Amazon and YouTube? It's nice to actually hear that there's a genuine passion behind it. And then, like you just said, as you were telling that story, there's that look of you can tell that it's a from the heart thing, as opposed to this is how I'm going to get rich, which I hope you do get rich off of it. That would be phenomenal, of course. Obviously I hope you all the success in the world. But I think a project like this, again, to tackle some of these some of these giants in the industry, you have to do it out of passion, right? It has to be a thing that you just genuinely want to do because you love doing it, as opposed to YouTube ain't got nothing on me, dude.
No sane person will do it, I'll tell you that.
Of course.
And the one thing I keep coming back to is I like to, if I ever go crazy, right? If I ever change my mind and start scheming away,
right.
The beauty of open source is that I can't take that away from you, right? It's the Glimesh itself, the platform, the open source streaming software we're utilizing is licensed in such a way that Glimesh, the company, or Luke Strickland, the person, cannot take that from you.
Right.
It's publicized, it's live, you already have a license to use it. You can continue using it up until the point that we close it.
Right.
And so if we get to a point where Glimesh is no longer meeting your criteria for streaming sites, and you get a passion to start your own, go fork it.
Right.
Go do it.
Hell yeah. That's amazing. Brian, do you have anything else you want to
add? One very important question. When can I start streaming on Glimesh?
Well, for a small fee, we'll let you in early.
That's right.
Small fee. Define small fee.
$1 million.
Oh, shit. Okay, I'm out.
Canadian dollars or American dollars?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's $6 US.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You're in.
Perfect.
I want to ask you one thing real quick. Sorry, you actually didn't answer Brian's question. I just butted in like a complete asshole. I'm sorry.
Hopefully sometime this year.
Go ahead.
Hopefully sometime this year.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, sometime this year is the goal. Yeah.
If you guys ever want to host a podcast, though, let me know. We can set it up early.
Hell yeah.
Well, maybe our live podcast nights will be on
Glimesh.
We do it once a month, so
might be an idea. What would be what would you say to, like, if you had like an elevator pitch to another streamer that streamed on Twitch to come over to Glimesh? What's like the 45 seconds go? What's like the reason that they should come over?
How many do-overs do I get?
1. It's an elevator, dude.
How many floors are we going up?
It's a very small building. We got 6 floors.
Yeah, 6 floors.
I'm on the 7th floor, so we got 7 floors.
All right, 7 floors to go. All right, so the reason that you should consider Glimesh is because we are building the future of live streaming. Our core values is making a platform that's open, honest, transparent, and then discoverable, right? Something that's equal, something that doesn't lock features you need to succeed behind a paywall, right? What we're looking for is to make it fair for you to receive income. We want to make sure that it's a community that's safe and one mess up. There it is. All right. We're going to make sure that you have a community that is friendly and nice and has the right values, and then that you as a streamer can succeed on our platform. We have a great community. We're open source, and it's easy to get started. Go do it. Glimmish.tv.
Yeah.
Ding!
I gotta work on that.
You did great. Luke, did you have anything that you wanted to add before we close off?
No. You guys are doing awesome stuff. I like seeing people do what they truly enjoy, and it seems from talking to you both that you truly enjoy what you're doing. So keep it up. You're doing awesome.
Appreciate you as well. You're doing a hell of a job, my friend. Listen, we're so appreciative to have you here. It's an absolute pleasure meeting you. I'm very, very excited. I think we're both very, very excited for the future of what you're building. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think you guys, I think the sky is the limit for it, truly. When it comes to streaming, you end up with a lot of tech people. I mean, you have a lot of tech people. You end up with a lot of developers which love open source stuff. Again, we spoke last podcast about, where Dota came from, where the Battle Royale genre came from. Look at what happened with modded GTA and Skyrim and all these kind of things. Genres and, the entertainment industry is redefined by communities. And I think you are starting something that could reignite that passion, or maybe even kickstart that passion within the live streaming community. And I'm incredibly excited for what you're doing, and thank you for your hard work, truly.
Yeah, very excited.
Thank you.
Luke, all the best. We'll talk again very, very soon. And that is the end of episode 22. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys did want to check out Glimesh, you can follow them on Twitter at
Glimesh.
Just at Glimesh everywhere. It'll also be linked below.
Yeah, it will be linked below for sure. But yeah, follow them on Twitter. They do have a Discord as well. It's a public Discord, right, that people can join?
Yep, discord.gg/Glimesh.
Wow, I really probably should have known all this from what you spoke about at the beginning. All right, well, that's great, dudes. Luke, again, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you for checking out the episode. Please remember that we do post new episodes every single Monday. If you guys did like the video, please consider subscribing. If you guys listen to the audio version, then consider following the channel as well. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys. Cheers.
Bye-bye.